toasting, joking too. Sipping and roasting is what we do. Light 'em up, drink 'em down. Whiskey and cigars all around. Cheers, y'all.
Well.
That sounds like a party.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to 2023.
Oh, my God.
And welcome to this fine radio program, podcast, and video extravaganza known internationally as the world-famous Smokin' and Toastin'. Our program is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars, all wonderful things. And we're up to show number 309 as of today.
Halfway to 333.
Yes, sir. We're glad to be here. Thank you for joining us in this new year for a little discussion about all those things we mentioned. Craft beer, fine spirits, hand-rolled cigars. Our program today, we're just entitling it New Year, New Beer. And we do have beers that are at least new to us. I don't know if they're brand new.
Oh, that's okay.
Not a lot of
new to us is just fine.
Yeah, not a lot of brand new beers come out like between Christmas and New Year's. So, but there's going to be a lot of new beer this year. We'll talk a little bit about what to expect the craft beer industry to look like in 2023.
So I want to point out, though, you say not a lot of new beers coming out, but I just found a 6-pack of St. Arnold Springbok.
Already Springbok.
Yeah.
Wow. See, that sort of fills me with a little bit of joy.
Yeah.
Because we had a super cold spat in December.
Yeah.
And while it's warmed back up for us a little bit today, it's still definitely, sweatshirt weather and hoodie weather. But the idea that spring might just be around the corner, oh, that's a wonderful thing. Because we still got to get through January and February.
We got that icky weather today where, it's a little too warm for a sweatshirt, but it's a little too cold without it.
Yeah, I totally get it.
Because there's like a cold drizzle going on.
Well, we had some icy temperatures across the holidays, and of course we were off last week for the holidays. So how have you been? Did you have a good holiday this year?
Man, I did. I had family in town. We hung out, had a good old time.
That's awesome.
We had a New Year's Eve party at the house.
Oh, nice.
That was a good time. A good time was had by all.
That's awesome. And you got what you wanted for Christmas, I hope?
I got my 2 front teeth.
There you go. It's always a good thing.
I did not get a pony again this year.
That's been disappointing you for quite some time, hasn't it?
That's probably for the best.
Probably. I could see you with a pony at the backyard of your house. Look, I finally got it.
I have a pony.
Well, I don't have a pony for you here today, my friend, but we do have some very interesting beers to taste from Southern Star Brewing, close to us in Conroe, Texas. They're basically famous for their Bombshell Blonde. That's their
Bombshell
sort of like
Blonde.
that's
and
their
Buried Hatchet.
Yeah, well, yes, of course. But Bombshell Blonde was really the first thing that kind of put them on the map. Well, now they've come out with Bombshell Pills, so we'll be trying their Pilsner.
Ooh, I haven't tried that one.
Bombshell Pills. Yeah, I think it's fairly new, although it didn't come out in 2023, but it's fairly new. Then from Firestone Walker, out of Pasa, Robles, California, we'll be trying their Mind Haze. They have a whole series of Mind Haze IPAs.
Right.
This one is the Tiki Smash IPA.
They have a few series of things. They have the Luponic Distortion.
Right, which is always that's always like crazy hop stuff,
Yeah.
And then this Mind Haze series is all kind of different hazy IPAs. And then, of course, in addition to that, they do amazing things with beers with Brettanomyces and with different stouts and different things that they do as well. But this is the IPA we'll be trying today, Mind Haze Tiki Smash. And then from a very influential brewery in Placentia, California called The Bruery, but it's spelled Bruery. We'll be trying their bourbon barrel-aged Imperial Stout called So Happens It's Tuesday. And I will just tell you, this Imperial Stout, I mean, it's a tall can, it's a 16-ounce can, but it was over $20.
I've had this one before.
Oh, you have. So not new beer for you.
It's.
Is it worth revisiting?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you won't mind then.
As a matter of fact, one of my Christmas gifts was the barrel-aged version called Black Tuesday.
Ah, very interesting. Well, this one is bourbon barrel aged, but it's a little bit different aging process, I would guess, is where this one comes from. So, well, we will look forward to trying that. Plus, a new rum for the program today, the Paranubes Paranubes Anejo rum. It's from Oaxaca, Mexico. So
Okay.
rum from Mexico should be interesting to try. On the program today, we'll talk about more top cigars of 2022. We only scratched the surface of those lists on our last show of the year. And we'll also, there's very interesting legal development in the cigar world this last week. Cuba, the country, won a lawsuit in court over the brand name Cohiba.
Really?
Which means that unless it's appealed and goes the other way on appeal, that I think it's a General Cigar that owns the non-Cuban
Not sure
Cohiba.
which one it is. Yeah.
I don't remember off the top of my head, but whatever company it is that distributes the non-Cuban Cohiba would have to cease and desist using the Cohiba
My
name.
question is this then: if that goes through and that is successful, what about all the other brands? Because there are tons of Cuban
Sure, there's
brands.
H. Upman, there's Monte Cristo.
Punch,
Yeah,
all of those.
sure.
Like all
that
those.
began as Cuban brands and were co-opted or used. So I don't know if there's something different about Cohiba in terms of maybe in other cases they secured rights differently or something.
Well,
I don't know.
all the market, the labels are the same.
Right.
Like the only way you can tell on a lot of those is when you look at the label itself.
Now I will say Cohiba.
It says Havana.
Right. I will say though Cohiba changed their packaging for non-Cuban Cohibas a number of years ago. They now use the word Cohiba against the background, and then there's a dot. The dot is either blue or red.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
So they changed theirs. So theirs is not as similar. And I wonder if even that might have been in response to this lawsuit or maybe trying to show that they were differentiating in some way or whatever. I don't know. But in any case, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
Yeah.
And wouldn't it be something if non-Cuban Cohibas became like a collector's item because they're no longer going to be
Because they're
produced?
no longer available. They are, however, expensive enough.
They are. Even the remember when they released, I think it was Cohiba Blue, which is supposed to be this is their
This is
less
their
expensive.
affordable
Yeah, and it's
range.
still like $13 or $14.
Yeah, and it's not very. I was not impressed by
Not
that.
my favorite, no, for sure. Although I will say a lot of the non-Cuban Cohibas are pretty good.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They're like they are good, but they're expensive.
Yes,
like
they
Davidoff's are real good cigars.
Yeah, but they're expensive. Yeah,
They're real
exactly.
expensive.
Exactly. So anyway, we'll talk to you about that. We have craft beer predictions for 2023 and a whole lot more. It's going to be an interesting show. We will also, we didn't get to this last time, but we have a list where beer snobs pick the best Texas beers. I thought that would be
yeah,
interesting
we
for you and I to
teased that,
chime
never
in
got
on.
to
Yeah,
it,
yeah. We had a busy show last time just with those cigar lists. So, and of course we got more of the cigar lists, and we have, of course, the return of one of our most heralded and often asked for segments on the program, the popular segment called Drinking News. And our Drinking News teaser headline for today: it's not enough to just walk the line. Oh, I like that one. That was
I
different.
didn't know if there was going to be more to that.
No, it's just
I mean, the awkward pause is okay.
Yeah, listen, if Awkward Pause wasn't okay, we'd have been out of business a long time ago.
They would have stopped us by now.
That's right, and no one has stepped in to do that.
Well, you would think.
Strangely.
See, I just instituted an awkward pause.
You did, and it worked. See? So what would we think? Or was that
No,
that
I
was just for the purpose of
I was just putting
just
a
for the
pause in
purpose
there.
of the awkward pause? Well, I appreciate that, sir. Thank you.
You would think.
Yes, you would. Well, it's been an interesting couple of weeks for us since we've done a show, and again, thanks to everyone for giving us the grace period of a week off for the holidays. But I'm assuming, Ian, you've had a chance to smoke something interesting over the holidays.
But you know what? Before I get to that, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
We had a couple special occasions come up.
Yes.
What cigars did you smoke on Christmas and New Year's?
Oh no! So
What
this
were
is
your
interesting.
special occasion cigars?
My special occasion cigars for Christmas Eve, I smoked an Alec Bradley. Is it Prensado?
Prensado.
Prensado.
Yeah.
I always mispronounce that one. Which was, I don't know if that's a special occasion cigar, but it sure was good. It was
Prensado. I don't know.
Prince. Yeah. However, I have to
that
be looking
thing.
at it
Yes.
to actually pronounce it correctly and look at the name because I always get it wrong. And then on New Year's Eve, I had my Monte Cristo. It's not the 18. It's the latest Monte Cristo by AJ. that he did was the special the Nicaragua.
135.
No, it's not the 135. It's the
Nicaragua.
Nicaragua.
Yeah.
So that I'd kind of been saving for a special occasion. So that was my New Year's Eve cigar. How about you?
So on Christmas Day, because
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a chance on Christmas Eve, but on Christmas Day I had my 45th anniversary Padron.
Oh, sweet.
And holy cow, that's
Yeah,
delicious.
yeah.
And then I had the Reserva Viejo on New Year's.
That's good,
The
too.
Maduro Reserva Viejo.
Yeah.
So
Sweet.
So good. Very,
Sweet. Yeah.
very nice.
Well, good. Is that what you're going to talk about for your cigar
Nope.
today?
No. I
something
stopped
else.
at Casa earlier today, and I was kicking around. I found a couple new cigars that I hadn't tried, but I'm going to hold off on one of those because a buddy of mine was looking for one of them in particular, so I bought two. So we're going to meet up this week and have Alan, we're going to meet up this week and have a cigar.
Very nice.
But I picked up one that I just hadn't tried. The Avo Uvezian Syncro, which I have tried, but I hadn't tried this particular iteration of it, the fogata.
Is this the one? It's in the square tube, right?
No,
or the
so
box
that's
press
one
tube?
of them. That's
Okay.
the one I had tried before.
Okay.
This is a different, as far as I understand, this is a different blend from that one.
Okay.
And
the fogata's pretty good.
and this was what they call a short torpedo. It was 4.5 by 52.
Ooh.
So pretty small cigar. Ecuadorian Habano wrapper, Mexican San Andreas binder, Dominican and Nicaraguan filler. The appearance on his chocolate brown wrapper, smooth, almost no veins. It's really, really a pretty little cigar. They had the Avo Syncro band plus a secondary fogata band, firm overall feel. The pre-light sniff on this traditional tobacco right off the bat, gentle barnyard on the nose, raisin, mocha, a little fermented hay. The pre-light draw, I used a clip on this. Draw was effortless, rich, dark fruit and raisin, fermented hay, tea leaf. The initial light, this is a woody bomb.
A woody bomb.
A woody bomb.
Interesting.
It had like tons of oak and cedar.
No,
going on.
you're not talking about like campfire, like charred wood.
No,
You're
no,
talking about
like
just
oak
like
and
oak,
cedar,
like
like
oak barrel and
big
cedar. Yeah,
time,
gotcha.
yeah. It left a little bit of that dry oak in the back of your palate, like a good red wine does, like that kind of dryness. So it's really nice. It's sweet, rich earth also on it, hay and leather with a touch of white pepper. The first third of this, leather and earth, mocha and sweet raisin, oak and cedar all share the palate space, along with hints of powdered sugar and teach leaf?
Teach leaf.
Tea leaf is what I meant to put, but apparently it auto-corrected me. Retrohale is cedar, oak, mild pepper, and sweet. Solid ash, good burn. Second third of this, brimming with wood, hay, leather, earth, mocha, with hints of powdered sugar, dark fruit, and an undefinable sweetness and a kiss of white pepper. This cigar delivers big, fluffy, medium-strength smoke, ready for smoke rings. Retrohale is woody and sweet with a touch of pepper. Solid ash, uneven burn. The last third of this, construction issues.
Really?
The wrapper,
This
if you look in
surprises
this
me a
picture
little.
right here, is
The one
unraveling.
up there, yeah. Yeah.
The
We call that pulling a gurkha.
my auto correct on here is the burn, BIRN,
Wow.
is uneven. I don't think I'm that bad at spelling.
I don't know if autocorrect.
How does it autocorrect burn to BIRN?
Bearn.
Bearn. The bearn. So the burn is uneven. Woody flavors gain intensity. A citrus note kind of appears and somewhat dominated the last third of the cigar. Aside from tending, the smoking is fine. Retrohale is woody with white pepper and citrus. Solid ash, uneven burn. It was really, a little annoying. It really started, the wrapper started unraveling a bit. The burn was just uneven and had to be tended substantially to fix it. This is a $10 cigar. And again, it's a 4.5-inch cigar by 52. So this is a lot of pricey cigar for a little bit of...
For a small cigar,
For a small cigar. I give it a 3.
Really?
Yeah, the flavor was great. I highly recommend the Syncro line is for flavor, but that construction on this one was bad.
That's what I used to say about the Gurkhas back when they were having all their just almost universal construction problems. The cigar's flavors were not bad at all. It was that construction just made them such a hassle to smoke.
Yeah, and I think on here, I don't think I generally have any issues with Avo cigars in general, construction-wise, so I think I maybe just got one.
Maybe. Yeah. I remember it's been a long time since I had an Avo, but I remember that the last one I had was disappointing. And I think it was construction.
Was that one there was like an anniversary one that came out
It
that
was.
me and
It
you
was
happened to have
yes.
on the same week?
It was, yes.
And yours fell all to pieces.
Yours was okay and mine fell apart, as I recall. Yeah.
So, I don't know. So I hate to be harsh about it. The flavor was good. I really enjoyed the cigar itself. But, man, just the tending and everything towards the entire last third of this gets a 3.
Yeah.
At $10, it gets
at $10, yeah, because you can buy a lot of great cigars in the $10
that won't
price
fall
range.
apart. Yeah,
that's right. That's absolutely right.
I mean, for $7, I could go buy a Serie R Maduro and never have an issue.
For $7 and $9, you can get a Bella Artez from AJ Fernandez. I've yet to have a construction problem on any of those.
It's just difficult. So low score on that one today. Even though it was a decent cigar, it was good.
All right. Well, I smoked one I had never smoked before. It was a cigar line called Mombacho. It was the Mombacho Miami Corona Gorda.
I mean, it sounds fun. That's a lot of syllables right there.
And it was a nice-looking medium brown cigar. Looked very well rolled. It is a Nicaraguan Puro. The band on it reads, with more than just Mombacho Miami Corona Gorda, the band reads Mombacho Thermonuclear Triple Ligero Edición Limitada. And it's my understanding that this cigar uses 3 leaves of Ligero tobacco from Esteli, Nicaragua, a Nicaraguan Corojo binder, and a Corojo 99
Okay,
wrapper.
I expect this thing to be nuclear.
And I didn't, when I bought it, I didn't realize. I mean, it looked, it looked like Nicaraguan tobacco, looked like a lot of the cigars I smoke in terms of color and all that. So I wasn't expecting it to be light or mild, but I didn't realize I'd picked up what was calling itself thermonuclear. I didn't see that on the band until I actually went to smoke it. This cigar is now made at Casa Fernandez in Miami. Now, that's not AJ Fernandez.
Casa Fernandez.
And I picked mine up at Casa de Montecristo here in Houston before Christmas. It's listed as a Corona Gorda, but to the eye, it really looks much like a Toro, maybe a tiny, tiny bit larger. I used a punch and checked out the pre-light aromas. A little bit of sweetness on the nose, and the same for the cold draw, although there was a hint of baking spice. So, not knowing much about the cigar at all, I lit the Mombacho, and the first few puffs were all about pepper. In fact, I'd go so far as to say that if I had a song about something we refer to on the program here as the Nicaraguan Pepper Blast, I would probably want to play it right now. If only such a song existed.
Only this song existed.
Think of how glorious that would be. Anyway, back to the cigar. Yes, I did get a nice little blast of pepper right away, along with some notes of oak and the baking spices that I mentioned from the cold draw. It burned pretty well in the first third, not razor straight, but again, no problems at all. In the second third, those baking spice notes clarified themselves somewhat to my palate in a more what I would call a sort of a yeasty pretzel kind of a note, making me think that this cigar would pair up great with a good Oktoberfest beer, like the St. Arnold Oktoberfest, or what's the other one that you really like? The 11 Below. Yeah, it would pair so great with that. The pepper note, which backed off slightly after the initial Nicaraguan pepper blast, seemed to grow stronger little by little as the cigar smoked. By the final third, it was pretty pronounced, leading me to warn that this is not a cigar for the first-time smoker. It is a powerful little beast, especially once it gets going. I'll mention that the pepper was not so much up front, like when you smoke a Chisel by La Flor Dominicana. I mean, that pepper hits you from the NPB on the first one, and it stays in the forefront of everything. In this particular case, the pepper was most prominent on the finish and in the retrohale. The first notes of each puff gave me more of that pretzel and baking spice, but the tingle on my tongue after I would exhale, that was all black pepper. The ash only held on for about 3/4 of an inch at a time, at least at first. But construction was great, and I had no complaints with the burn or draw. And as you'll see in this picture over there, oh yes, that one. Thank you. As you'll see there, as it burned on a little further, the ash held on a little bit longer. So, but it wasn't one of those where you've smoked half the cigar and you have half the ash still hanging on. Still, though, no real construction issues overall, and no complaints with the burn or the draw. The only complaint, in fact, that I might raise about the Mombacho Miami is that there wasn't a lot of change on the flavors as it smoked. What you first taste is pretty much what you get with this one throughout.
So a little bit of a one-trick pony.
Yep. That said, I really liked what I got. So I wasn't disappointed by that, even though you might long for a little more of that, change in complexity. Still was really good. I will say this. If you're not into big pepper, this would not be the cigar for you because it's big pepper. The Mombacho Miami is a $10 cigar, much like the one you smoked. And while I'm tempted to penalize it for not providing a wider variety of flavors, fact is I really enjoyed it too much. So I'll recommend it for pepper lovers only and give it a solid 5 price to quality. Nice. So there you go. By the way, my understanding, I tried to do a little reading about it because it's not a cigar I'd seen before or knew anything about. Apparently, it is only available, or at least at the time of what I read on Half Wheel, it was only available at Serious Cigars in Houston, which Serious Cigars became Casa de Monte Cristo. And that is where I bought this one. What I don't know, because they've continued to produce it, is if it is now available elsewhere or not. Excuse me. So it might be something to look for. So. In any case, if you're in the greater Houston area and you like big pepper, stop by Casa and get you one of these because you should experience.
That's what they used to call me in high school.
Isn't that a Jay-Z song, Big Pepper? I don't know. Anyway, all right, let's take a break. We'll come back and do a little beer tasting. We've got a lot to do and talk about on the program today, but I'm actually very excited about tasting this Bombshell Pils.
Yeah, let's do it.
From Southern Star in Conroe, Texas. So we'll get to that when we come back. It's Smoking and Toasting, show number 309, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting, our program all about craft beer, fine spirits, excuse me, and hand-rolled cigars. So, drink trends in 2022. How did we drink in 2022? If we turn for the answers to one of my favorite websites, liquor.com.
They're so fun.
Yeah, one of my favorite websites that doesn't have hub in the name is liquor.com. So Sorry,
that took me a minute to get it. Now I get it.
There's plenty of beer if you want to pour a
There's
little
only 3
more.
of us today.
Yeah, that's right. So let me run down these drink trends for 2022 from liquorhub.com. I'm sorry, just liquor.com. From Shirley Temples to sodas, make it dirty, they say. From whence the dirty Shirley came, we can't be sure. But the vodka-spiked Shirley Temple hit its peak zeitgeist in summer of 2022, even if no one really wanted to drink it. However, dirty sodas, booze-free concoctions that blend soda syrups, juice, and cream, may be here to stay. Although they say you won't catch us drinking Diet Dr. Pepper, lime juice, and coffee creamer. Through the power of TikTok, though, dirty sodas have risen to the mainstream in a category that culminated in 2022 with Lindsay Lohan and Pepsi hawking Pilk in holiday commercials, if that means anything to you. Second trend, even dirtier if it's a martini. A resurgence in martini drinking showed no signs of slowing down in the past year, nor did bartenders' quest to make the dirtiest martini of them all. And I applaud this because I love really super dirty martinis. In fact, I make them so dirty at home that my wife, when we go out and she orders a martini somewhere, I have to say, extra, extra, extra dirty 3 olives. And because otherwise it comes back not as dirty as she wants it. Yeah. The Dirty South Martini at Co-op Community Table and Bar in Huntsville, Alabama, uses a hit of pickled okra brine and a pimento cheese stuffed garnish of pickled okra. At Jennifer in Los Angeles, beverage director Kelso Norris spikes her Daitu Pute martini with garlic powder, fish sauce, and a full ounce of Filipino cane vinegar. I don't know.
I don't
to
know
me,
about
that's
that.
I just go olive juice, man. Now, olive juice, a little vermouth. In fact, I found a great martini secret weapon, and I don't know if I've shared this with you. At Specs, which is our big liquor store here, they have several things that are like their house brand, of things. Yeah. And one of the things you can get their house brand on is olives.
Oh, yeah.
Big chunk of the shelf for olives is devoted to the Specs brand stuff. And it's only available in small jars. But you can get a pimento stuffed green olive that is soaking in vermouth.
See, I haven't tried the vermouth soaked one.
And I've never been able to get vermouth quite right in my martinis. I either get too little so you don't taste it at all, or I get too much and it isn't really the taste I wanted with martinis. But I have found that by using these olives, which have been pre-soaked in vermouth, it's just the right amount of vermouth for the martini. So that's my new martini
and
secret
that's probably
weapon.
the right amount of vermouth to buy at the time too, because vermouth is perishable. Like, it doesn't sit on the shelf well. You have to refrigerate it. And you have to keep it refrigerated. So that's a good motivation to make sure that your vermouth is still in good shape.
A couple of other things from this list of liquor.com. A cocktail with a side of caviar. Apparently a big trend was serving a little bit of caviar on the side with a craft cocktail of sorts that developed in 2022.
I never heard of that.
Especially in New York. Also at the Vesper Club in Nashville. They pair caviar with their all martini tasting menu. And the next thing on this list is just a question: is vodka dead? And according to Laura Utnerberg, the owner of Nashville hotspot The Fox Bar, she says the vodka drinker is gone. They don't exist. And she credits this, obviously that's an exaggeration, she credits this to less juniper-forward New World gins converting former vodka drinkers and high-end agave spirits that are now her fastest-growing category. She says it used to be, if you're basic, you wanted a Moscow Mule, but that never gets called anymore. So people are calling for these other drinks and other spirits. Now, I will say that some of these less juniper-forward gins, Fox and Seeker's gin comes to mind.
That Meridian gin is fantastic.
That really works for me because I've never been huge on juniper. That's why I'm not a bigger fan of gin. I mean, I enjoy tasting it, but it's not something I necessarily would want to make a martini out of, which is why I've always leaned towards vodka martinis because of the floral nature of the gin martinis. But using something like that Fox and Seeker, which, if you remember, we got introduced to Fox and Seeker when we did our martini challenge, and those gin martinis were pretty damn good. And this coming from a vodka martini guy.
So at my house now, the Fox and Seeker is a standard for the gin and for the vodka even.
Right.
I'm very, very happy. Like, when we do mixed drinks, that's usually what I go for.
My business partner, Pat, is a gin guy. He always gin and tonic's his drink. Gin's been his favorite spirit forever. I got him a bottle of the Fox and Seeker for Christmas. It's the first time he'd had it, and he went crazy for it. And I didn't know if he would like it because he likes the juniper stuff, but he went crazy for it. So anyway, it is what it is. I just almost accidentally took a sip of this, and it's delicious.
This is good.
Have you tried it?
This is very sessionable good.
Has a little bit of citrusiness to it, which surprises me a little in a Pilsner.
It's got a rounder, maltier finish to it than you would expect. It's almost
usually
like
Pilsner has that little bite on the end.
It's almost a little backwards. Like it's got a crisp finish-ish, but you almost get more of the hops up front and then malt afterwards.
This is a delicious beer.
It's pretty good.
It almost makes up for that mead from Southern Star. Remember that? Mead, Malort, and hasn't there been one other thing that was just absolutely terrible? Mead, Malort, and Mama Wanna, the 3 M's of don't drink them. No, not all mead is bad, but that mead we tried that was the one you brought in from Southern Star, that was just horrific.
This is a little bigger than I thought, too. It's 5.2. So not real big, but...
But still, yeah, for a Pilsner, you expect it to be more in the 4.5 category, in terms of ABV. To say anything else about it? I'm assuming this is a regular
cool before
addition
serving.
To the
it's got a great looking, I like how simple the can is.
And the girl riding the rocket it's not the same image, but it's a throwback to the Bombshell Blonde.
Yeah, to the Bombshell Blonde kind of thing.
That's good. It also has a little bit of Doritos effect going. You take that sip and you kind of want another one. You know?
There's a little something in there that's undefinable too that I don't know what it is, but I'm liking
it strikes me, you mentioned the malt hop balance. It also strikes me as a traditional Pilsner, but with almost like a what you would define as the flavor of like a hazy or juicy IPA, but not that hoppy. But a little of that citrusy that the hazy
thing,
that the hazy gives off. I mean, it's definitely got hops in there, but this is quite good.
It is good.
Quite good.
I'm an instant fan of this.
This will hit the fridge. I will have some more of these in the beer fridge soon. Because sometimes you just, you're watching a football game or something. You just want to have a beer. You know, you're not getting too crazy about, I want to taste something exotic. You just want a really good, well-balanced beer. And a lot of times that's when I go for something, something like...
I go for the Eighth Wonder Tex a lot.
Yes. Eighth Wonder Tex is a good one. Summer Pills from St. Arnold. Yeah. But this falls right into that same category. In fact, I might like it a little better.
Careful now.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a find. And if you remember from the last show, 2 out of the 3 beers we were disappointed.
Yeah, we didn't like them very much.
Yeah, so we're off to a good start here in the new year with this beer. Just looking at different things on this list, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but they talked about the disco aesthetic, which seems more like, how bars and clubs are decorating themselves, but they also are talking about the fact that there are cocktails being mixed that harken back to the 70s disco era. So that's what that's about. And then the Jello Shot 2.0. They're talking about has
the Jello Shot 2.0. What does that mean?
Bars across the country are making new and wobbly, wonderful, and complex edible cocktails. There's a champagne Jello Shot at Nashville's White
I'd never
Limousine,
heard of.
For which bartender Demi Natoli combines bubbles, white wine, pisco, grapefruit juice, sugar, cinnamon, Pernod, and tartaric acid before setting the mixture with gelatin and edible glitter. At Milady's in New York City, Julie Renner's team presents House Jigglers in blue Hawaiian and pink pomegranate paloma flavors on clamshells set atop ice. I'm having trouble reading today for some reason. Maybe I need more
it's
of
easy
this.
for you to say.
Yeah. And then shareable Jello fruit baskets are available at Silver Lion in Washington, D.C., and at Oma's Hideaway in Portland, Oregon. Disney property there, Oga's Cantina, now serves a solid shot of vodka, sour apple Sprite, and boba balls. I guess that has something to do with Boba Fett. I don't know. Boba Jello shots.
Weird.
Yeah, a little strange. But anyway, that's just some of the trends that defined cocktail drinking in 2022.
Well, I guess, you got a Jello shot. Someone's going to make a fancy version of it, right?
Right. Jello, but I like Jello Shots 2.0. That just sounds
That's funny.
Okay, maybe I could revisit Jello Shots. I'm the guy that generally, when they say Jello Shot, I'm generally like, no, thanks. I've been out of college far too long. Come on. Let's do something else.
So I generally just don't do shots anymore, ever, for anything.
Yeah, I'm kind of like that.
But I'll do Jello shots.
Well, I will do tequila shots, but I just don't shoot them.
Have you ever had gummy bears or whatever soaked in vodka?
Yeah, not a fan.
They're really weirdly slimy.
Not a fan. Yeah, it's too slimy for me. But like if somebody makes, like a classic shot, like a Sex on the Beach or I'm trying to think of the one, Kamikaze. Uh-huh. Yeah, I'll do that. I won't make them, but if somebody else makes them or orders them at the bar, I'll have one. Why not?
So most of the time I'll pass on those two. Mind Eraser.
That takes you back to the college drinking days, doesn't it?
The purple people eater over at Lola's is particularly...
Yeah.
It's particularly terrifying.
Yes, it is. Terrifying is the right word. I was looking for the right word, and you nailed it. Terrifying is absolutely right. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's sip away a little bit of this, enjoy it, and take a quick break. And we will be back to sample our next beer, which is the Mind Haze Tiki Smash IPA from incredibly reputable brewery out of California, Firestone Walker. These guys know what they're doing. We'll be back. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our program's all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars, and we welcome you to show number 309, our first show of 2023. We're really glad to have you on board. Matthew McConaughey is ending his partnership with Wild Turkey. As you remember, they've been together on the Long Branch imprint, the Wild Turkey line, for quite some time.
He's been with them for a while now.
Yeah. And Long Branch will continue, but without McConaughey as a partner. His signature has actually been absent from bottles of Long Branch as early as the first week or so of December. And it launched in 2018. It's garnered quite a bit of praise from critics, from gin to tequila to rum to whiskey. Celebrity booze is lucrative and often full to the brim with pitfalls. Celebrity booze excluding Long Branch, that is, said Jay West, a Whiskey Raiders spirits critic. So Long Branch has been well received. And it's been such a successful endeavor that the brand even opened a ranch where guests can stay while visiting the distillery. So even though there'll be a little bit less of the man behind the bourbon around the distillery, it looks like both McConaughey and Long Branch will be... All right. And by the way, I didn't write that. That was in the article. So there you go. So I don't know what this article doesn't tell us, though, is why. Like, why would Matthew McConaughey step away? Did he sell his ownership back to Wild Turkey? I wonder. It is a good whiskey. We've had it. It's good.
I wonder if he has maybe a new project, maybe his own,
maybe something
whiskey or something.
Could be. I don't know. But if so, he set the bar fairly high because the Long Branch was very successful.
Yeah, the Long Branch has been good. The other Heaven's Door.
Right.
It's real good.
Yeah, Heaven's Door, the Bob Dylan one.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think. And Blackened, Metallica
is good.
Very good, yeah. Of course, it's hard to go wrong when your whiskey was
aged on
Ride the Lightning.
For All.
Yeah, right. Well, it's also hard to go wrong when you have, the one of the more well-known, successful distillers of all time who basically came up with your whiskey.
Yeah.
And so... it's
if you're gonna do a whiskey, Dave Pickerel was the guy.
He's a go-to guy for sure. I love this on the nose already.
It smells really good. It smells like a
wonderfully tropical, wonderfully citrus,
IPA,
very solid IPA. Yep. Yeah, they don't let me down here.
It's sweeter than I expected.
Kind of like sometimes you get like an orange juice, even though it hasn't been sweetened. But the orange
almost
is used
like
to make
orange
it a real sweet.
Julius kind of.
Yeah.
Like and because it's like a creamy orange kind of taste to it.
Yeah, almost like an orange creamsicle.
Yeah.
A little bit of that. And there is, by the way, Buffalo Bayou.
The Dreamsicle.
Makes a Dreamsicle that is fantastic. Oh, my God. It's a beer. It's not an actual Dreamsicle, but that thing is amazing.
It's really good.
This doesn't have the vanilla that has. But
you know what I like about this is how quickly it's off the palate, too.
Yeah.
Like it's got the hops, but it's off the palate pretty quick. Tropical hops with coconut. That's
what I'm getting in there. And that's why maybe I'm not getting the vanilla.
Something different. I don't know. I didn't think coconut.
But that's what's making it Tiki. Is the coconut.
I don't know that I could pick coconut out of that without reading that it's coconut. But it is an interesting thing, and I like the beer. The beer's good.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, these guys are so good at what they do. And, their IPAs can be extremely experimental, like we mentioned in the Luponic Distortion series. This is less so. This is just a very drinkable kind of mainstream hazy.
It says, beer before glory, India Pale Ale, brewed with coconut, 6.2% alcohol by volume.
My friends, that's good. Get some.
It's good. Yeah, I would definitely try this. This is such an interesting... I bet this would be one of those rare IPAs that would go well with cigar as well.
Yes, I think you're right, because as a fan of, obviously, cigars and IPAs, I don't often enjoy them together, because some of my favorite IPAs, take something like Art Car from St. Arnold or like a Harpoon IPA, there's just enough of the hop bite that it almost sours the cigar. It makes the cigar sours might not be the right word, but it gives it a harshness that doesn't really work.
This
I think would go.
This is hop present, but it doesn't bitter at the end.
No, it doesn't at all.
I mean, there's the tiniest little bit, but not. No, I think this is.
I
really
think it
nice.
would go with a cigar. In fact, that's going to go on my to-do list.
You, sir, have broken yours.
I certainly have, and I don't like a broken cup of IPA.
Pouring more into it.
IPA good.
How do you really feel?
Well, the past several shows we haven't done an IPA, so it's nice to return with a really good one here. So,
Yeah, that's good.
Very nice, very nice. All right, we take a break. We return with more to come. We are going to taste some rum in the next segment. It's the Paranubes Anejo rum from Oaxaca, from Mexico. So interesting to see how the Mexicans make rum, because they sure do a good job with that tequila stuff.
That's true.
We'll be right back. Welcome back. It is the program we call Smokin' and Toastin'. It's all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. We are so glad to have you with us on the program. We were talking about Matthew McConaughey in the last segment, and he's stepping away from the Wild Turkey whiskey that he's been a partner in for a while. I just wanted to mention, if you have not seen, and you can find it on YouTube, just search Matthew McConaughey graduation. There's a graduation speech that he gave a few years ago, some college's commencement. It's fantastic. It's like one of the greatest, most makes sense, still very moving and encouraging speeches of any like that I've ever heard. You know, former presidents give those. I mean, people who are really considered to be great orators, great speakers. And Matthew McConaughey's is as good or better than any I've ever seen.
Who also did an amazing one a few years back,
Who's
probably closer to 10 years by now or something like that, was Ashton Kutcher.
Really? I wouldn't see. That one would surprise me more than Matthew McConaughey.
Man, if you listen to his speech, it's really like, wow, okay. I remember seeing that when it came out. It was viral for a bit.
That's very interesting.
This rum bottle doesn't have a very rum looking.
No, it absolutely doesn't.
It just doesn't look like rum. Like this looks like if I saw it from here and had no idea, I'd just say tequila.
Mm-hmm. Maybe even whiskey, like a bourbon.
Maybe whiskey, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I agree. It is not a very rum looking bottle.
There's a weird little nub on the glass down here as well. I see, though, however, you have gone through the pains of removing the plastic from the top.
I thought it was important to start the new year thinking safety first.
And then clearing the neck of the bottle to avoid spillage.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's pretty amazing, man.
Going to read you a few from Lynchpin SE. Craft beer marketing and industry trends shaping 2023. These are predictions for what will...
Man, you have been hitting it with the rhyming today, by the way.
Yes, I am. I'm a poet, and I didn't even know it.
That's about the fourth time you've rhymed the sentence so nicely.
You know, I make rhymes. That's what I do.
You're like a lyrical gangster.
I am something like that, yes. Word around. Sour beers gain a mass following is the first prediction from this website for 2023. And that's interesting. They are still. I still think of them as very much a niche product, don't you? But
sours were like. There were just a few sour beers on the market, probably 7 years ago, and then they exploded. There's so many sour beers on the market
places
right
like
now.
Martin House in Fort Worth.
Yeah, they make just
made
crazy amounts of
sours.
beers.
Yeah,
and I
Prairie Artisan Ales.
Yeah, from the inside perspective, I feel like sour beers are already exploding.
Mm-hmm.
So that to me, that's like saying water's getting wetter this year. Like this is already happening.
There's a comedian, Jim Gaffigan, talks about bottled water. He's like, this is more watery than regular water.
Right.
The second trend: lagers get respect in the craft world. Now, I feel like that's already started.
So I think that's crappy wording.
Mm-hmm.
Let me explain why. Lagers are harder to make, and they take longer. And lager means to store, so it takes longer to turn around a lager than it does almost everything else.
But I think in terms of consumers, though, we're seeing a real growth in people turning to lagers as one of their more primary beer styles.
Well, so the only lagers you could get for a long time were the macro brew lagers.
Right.
And again, it's a hard style to brew for a brewer because, frankly, to get a nice flavor out of a beer that's inherently that light,
Right.
That's a difficult thing to master. You know, that's
it
like,
is. And if you think about it, the craft beer explosion essentially happened on the back of IPA. I mean, IPA was what really drove craft beer into position of
and
huge.
stouts.
And stouts.
Originally,
and
it was
right.
beers you could never find.
Right.
You know?
And
so dark beers
you
were
weren't
huge,
getting
and
anything,
IPAs were huge.
You weren't getting anything like that from macro brew. And so those were what caused the explosion. But now, as the craft beer explosion has settled in somewhat, you're seeing a lot of brewers saying, we can make a really good lager.
Yeah,
it
and
doesn't
there's
have to
so
taste like
many
Budweiser.
good ones. There's so many good ones. Texas Leaguer makes a great one.
Oh, yes.
That we said it earlier, the Tex Lager from Eighth Wonder.
Fantastic, yes.
The Scout Mexican Lager from...
yeah, that is fantastic.
True Anomaly. I don't know why I was blanking on them. There's so many good lagers out right now, craft lagers, and I think that's a nice way for a lot of the brewmeisters to flex their brew muscles a little bit, because like it does take longer, and you don't make as much money on it because it takes longer.
Kima Suprema, a great Pilsner that we've had on the show here a few months ago. Great stuff. So lagers give respect to the craft world. The next trend is beers containing CBD take stage. CBD oil obviously is super popular. Most forms of hemp were legalized on the national federal level in 2018. But many craft breweries, they say, plan to launch CBD beers in a limited run and will continue the lines if they prove popular. That is, if the legalities don't get in the way. I will say that the hemp-infused beer that I've tried most recently, I'm trying to think of which one it was. It's not Dogfish Head. It's the one with the fish on the label. Stillwater. They have a 420 beer that is hemp-infused. I don't like it at all. It's
I remember.
It's like
I think
the
we
flavors,
had it in here.
The flavors don't seem to go together to me. It's not that I don't like that smell or aroma.
That danky smell.
I do like that, but it just didn't seem to work for a beer.
There are some hops that smell kind of like that.
Yes, there are.
But there are skunks that smell kind of like that. So it's kind of like, where are you at on the spectrum there?
On the skunk spectrum. All right, so we're going to try this rum. This is
Paranubes.
Yep.
Aged 18 months in American oak and Anejo.
And I just want to say that on the nose, it doesn't seem like rum at all. It seems like a whiskey.
Yeah, it's like a whiskey with something going on.
Now, it says on this bottle that it was aged. What does it say about the aging there? 18 months in oak.
18 months
barrels?
in American oak.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure about this thing here.
I'm not either. First of all, it doesn't taste like a rum at all.
No, the first sip of this has nothing to do with rum. It's way too sweet.
Well,
There's
rum is
way
very
too
sweet,
much
but-
heat.
Yeah, it's got a lot of heat.
And then it's got this bitter kind of... I don't know what that is. It
finishes like a whiskey.
It says aged 18 months in American oak. I wonder if they use stave. It's got way too much oak stave in it.
Yeah.
It's bitter. It's oak bitter in a bad way.
I kind of would think you would like this because it kind of leans toward whiskey in the spectrum. So you remember
it's got a like a black licorice thing going on.
It's been a year or more ago, but we had a rum whiskey hybrid, if you may remember, that was done by Jonathan Drew of Drew Estate.
Yeah, I do remember
That was more rum oriented than this is, and it was half whiskey.
Master distiller Jose Luis Carrera, region Rio Tuerto. I can't pronounce that last word.
Now, I got a little chocolate just now. As I continue to drink
Wild yeast, pine fermentation. Maybe it's that pine I'm tasting.
Maybe.
Man, it is astringent, though, man.
Well, I will say,
like,
as I sip it more, though, I am picking up more flavors. I'm not getting normal kind of rum flavors. I'm not getting vanilla. I'm not getting that sort of maple and molasses. I am, though, getting a little bit of chocolate.
I don't know how you can get past the bitter.
I like it better as I drink it more, but I'm still not to the point where I would recommend this.
Man, this has...
It's about a $60 bottle, too.
Really?
Yeah. By the way, I just want to say something while we're talking about something we're not crazy about here. I mentioned a number of shows ago that one of my favorite tequilas, the Skelly, which comes in the little, has gotten so expensive that I've stopped buying it.
Right.
But it's because I want the Anejo, and I used to buy it
That
for
was
around
$50.
I used to buy it for around 38 initially. Then it went to 50, then 60. I kept buying it. When it approached $100, I'm like, I'm more than halfway to a bottle of Reserva de la Familia at that price. I'd rather just wait and get that. So I stopped buying Skelly. My good friend Dave Murphy, who's been on the show with us, sent me a bottle of Skelly Anejo for Christmas.
Oh.
My wife and I opened it a couple of days ago, and I had forgotten how amazingly good it is.
Oh, wow.
And now I'm considering that even at current prices,
it might still just be that good.
It might still be good enough to justify it. That is the, Reserva de la Familia is my favorite tequila I've ever had from Jose Cuervo. But Skelly is smoother. It is so smooth and
It's
so
buttery.
dangerous.
Yeah,
it's amazing. I don't know how they do it. So just wanted to throw that in. This, I'm not going to recommend. This rum, this Paranubes.
Like, I'm trying to get through this small amount that I poured. I don't know. You're right. Once the palate
Adjusts somewhat.
adjusts a little bit, it's
You get a
better.
little- you
But
get a little
I don't know
chocolate.
that it's what I'd call good. And it could be, this might be something worth revisiting in a few months and say, you know what? What do we think now that we go into it knowing that it's different from a regular rum?
Right, where you're not getting that, this is not a rum surprise
Yeah,
at the beginning.
because sometimes that knee-jerk reaction when you think you're about to drink Sprite and it's Diet Coke or something, it's like, oh.
See,
It doesn't necessarily mean that's bad. It just means that, like, you weren't expecting it. So
I
wonder
will
if-
admit that I'm a little bit that way when it comes to mezcal. When I first take a sip of mezcal, I find myself wishing it were tequila instead, right?
Sean, how do you feel about this?
Don't like it.
He's not a fan of this at all.
When I take a first sip of mezcal, I often find myself going, well, I get it, but I really wish it was tequila. I would like that better. But once you've had a little bit of mezcal and you've kind of adjusted to the fact that, okay, this is a much smokier, different thing on the palate, you can start to really appreciate it for what it is. I'm just speaking for me. Because some people...
I find there are certain things, like I have a space on my shelf that is dedicated to very peaty whiskeys.
Right.
And boy, are they peaty.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's the
Lafrague
flavor I
and-
want. Yeah, so I got the Oaxaca, I got the Lafrague, I've got a Kilhoman. I've got two different Lafragues. I got the Corchess and the Quarter Cask. The Quarter Cask, boy, that's very peaty.
That's serious peat.
And of course, Ardbeg is known as like the peatiest thing in the world. And then, and sometimes I really want that flavor, and sometimes I don't. I find that mezcal and some of those off things are like sometimes I want that. Like I have a couple mezcals, and sometimes I go, you know what, that's the one I want right now. And I don't always think about it. And you know what? Since you gave me that bottle of Porteño, I've been revisiting the Porteño.
That's
I
good
forgot
stuff,
how much
man.
I like it.
It's so good.
It's real good.
It's so good.
And it also puts me back into trying some more rums because I have I actually am now kind of a rum guy. I have like 9 different bottles of nice rum. Or something like that. But remember that Mocambo? Man, that stuff is outrageously good.
Yeah, serious.
But I find that I like different flavors. This I'd be super interested to try this again in a couple months and go, okay, what do we think after we've kind of absorbed the idea that maybe it's not normal, and then we try it knowing it's not normal and think, okay.
So you know what? Maybe there's a show there. Maybe we do a show like Second Chance Tastings. Right?
On some stuff that we
for
reviewed
things that
low.
we were, maybe not crazy about. I don't want to do a second chance on Malort.
No,
because I'm not going to like it. I know that, but there might be some stuff that we.
But have you had the barrel aged Malort?
Oh, please.
I have
with me.
some.
Do not even start with me.
I'm dead serious.
There's no such thing as barrel-aged Malort.
No, I swear to God, I have a bottle of it. And it says...
Why would you own a
on
bottle
the little
of that?
shield, like the Malort shield, it has BAM, BAM, barrel-aged Malort.
Got to be kidding me.
I am 100% dead serious.
So, Mr. Malort Man,
I
is
have
it any
barrel-aged Malort.
better barrel-aged?
It is initially better.
What do you mean by initially?
Well, you know how Malort is kind of like herpes? It just keeps going.
Malort is like herpes. That is the line of the year, and it's our first show.
It just keeps going. There's no way of getting rid of it.
Yeah,
Once, once you've taken that first sip, it's pretty much over. Should we pause for an awkward silence?
There is no known cure for Malort.
No, but I have the barrel-aged Malort, and initially...
What possessed you to buy a bottle of barrel-aged
I didn't
Malort?
buy it. My friend that gave me the Malort gave me the barrel-aged Malort.
I don't know if I really classify him as a friend. I really don't. I think you got to rethink that.
So I don't know if you remember this. You know that this exists because I did a video and we put it on one of our shows of me trying the barrel-aged Malort.
Man, just takes my breath away. But there have been some things that we haven't hated, but just haven't been completely convinced on.
So yeah, sometimes, and I can't
a
help
second chance tasting show.
Because there
might be
are
interesting.
things. Well, like you told me earlier, we had the lawnmower. You told me earlier when you first tried lawnmower years ago, you didn't like it at all. You absolutely hated it.
Yeah, hated it, and now I like it a lot.
A great beer.
It really is. I don't know why I didn't like it at the time. I know at the time I was very much into drinking very West Coast American IPAs, things like the St. Arnold Tall Ships one. Alyssa, yeah. Those were the kind of IPAs I was into very seriously at the time. So when I drank this, it just didn't hit me right now. And we've had it for a show beer here today, Lawnmower from Sound. Now I think it's fantastic. Yeah. I like it a lot. So I don't know. Your tastes do change and evolve.
Truly.
I didn't care much for peaty scotches when I first tried them. Now I enjoy them on occasion. Like it's not my go-to, but sometimes that's a wonderful thing to experience.
I'll also bring it in the same kind of way. Like, you remember when you used to go buy CDs?
Yeah.
Like, now we're dating ourselves, right?
Yeah, right.
There were CDs that I bought initially.
I dated myself for many years before I met my wife.
Gotta love yourself first.
Yeah. At least you knew you were getting lucky at the end of the night.
If you weren't, you got some serious issues.
Yeah, that's right.
But like there were CDs that came out, like for instance the second Big Head Todd CD, Stratagem.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't really like it when I first listened to it,
and then it grew on
me,
time.
and now it's like one of my favorite of his albums.
I will say some of my
never know.
Some of my
Sometimes
favorite
like
albums I didn't like that much initially. Yeah. So yes, I know what you mean. I poured myself a little more just to see if it gets better.
I'm still working on my first pour. I'm trying to give it a fair shake here. It's very different, and I would hate to naysay something that's different, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hey, I have a question to ask. If we're going to go and revisit and second chance some things, do we have to do that with Fireball? Or not Fireball, but Screwball?
No. Actually, though, that would be a good one to do. You know, honestly, it would be a good one to do because it's got some big fans out there.
It's huge.
Some people that love it.
You know who exploded that was Dave Grohl.
Dave Grohl of Foo Fighters, yeah. It's his favorite whiskey.
Exploded it, and they sent us a bottle of that stuff. We didn't like it very much.
we were like, yeah, this doesn't work. But I have told people, speaking of peanut butter, I have told people about that ingenious peanut butter cup stout that we had several weeks ago. That's like one of my favorite stouts of all time.
That's pretty amazing.
Really is. A couple more things as I am liking this better, Ian.
I don't think I can get over it. There's something about the initial sip and the sweetness on the finish that I like, but there's a lot going on in between that it's got a raw kind of piney, overly hot, overly sweet. I can't do it.
I'll tell you something. You commented on how I had obviously opened this bottle, clearing away the excess plastic and making sure the neck was clear.
Yes,
for safety. But when I did that, my wife and I tried it. She's a big rum fan. Rum is her favorite spirit. And, we tried it. We both were kind of like you and I have responded here today. She wasn't crazy about it at all. I liked it, I think, better than she did. But what surprised her is that she didn't quite notice when I told her what it was. She didn't think she was drinking rum. She thought it was whiskey. And, she likes whiskey okay, but it's not her first choice. And so she was like, yeah, it's all right, blah, 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 blah. And when I said, yeah, but something about a rum, she's like, that's a rum? It didn't even strike her as a rum. And she's a rum fan,
So I wonder, maybe when we do that, we revisit some things, we do blind tastings.
That might be interesting. Pour it, taste it, and then John could tell us what it is.
I mean, wouldn't that be kind of an interesting thing? These are things you are not crazy about.
Right. Things that didn't go over huge on the show. Yeah. But not stuff that was just openly terrible, like that mead and Malort.
Right. Yeah. Those are exceptional things. Yeah.
Things that we would say we were a little disappointed in.
You didn't even try the mead. That was hilarious.
No. And I never will. A couple of other trends for craft beer in 2023. Rosé beers stay in demand. Now, to be honest, I thought rosé beers had come and gone.
I don't see them anymore.
Yeah, I really don't either. But they say it'll be an even bigger trend in 2023 and will become widely accepted.
Man, nay, I say.
I don't think they're bad. I just didn't think they sort of broke through.
No, I'm saying that prediction.
Yeah.
Nay.
Yeah. Craft beer competes with macro breweries. Now, let me read what they say. While craft beer ballooned to nearly 12% of the beer market in the U.S., it plateaued in the last few years and has made only single-digit percentage gains. However, analysts believe that the niche could potentially expand its market share shortly. They base this guess on the assumption that younger customers are the driving force behind craft beer's popularity in the first place. And as this generation takes over the market, they'll most likely stick with their preferences and buying habits. Meanwhile, older generations, which relied more on macro-brewed beer, are buying less beer in bulk as they age. Now, I think that is likely true.
Okay, I can go with that.
And I think that the people who need to pay the most attention to this are the beverage managers at restaurants. Because I continue to go to what would be described as high-end restaurants.
Yep.
And their beer menu sucks.
Crap selection of beer.
Crap selection of beer. And
phoned-in selection of beer even.
Right. Now, what this doesn't get to for me is what I think is still going to be a growing segment of the beer market, and that is macro craft. The Goose Islands and the Carbox and the craft breweries that were bought by the major breweries, and those major breweries and Anheuser-Busch and those guys,
and they're still sold as craft brew.
They continue to exert their muscle to try to get those as the only craft beer the restaurant will carry, or to get the lion's share of the shelf space.
That happens a lot here in Houston.
It does. It really does. You see it all the time.
Those two beers, especially Carbach. Carbach is, you need a craft beer. We have Carbach.
Right, exactly. Here's how you can check that box, beverage manager. Yeah. So tell me if you think this is rude or not. In my building downtown, we have a great little international grocery store, Phoenicia, and they have a wonderful craft beer selection. Now, it's not huge, but it is good. Very robust considering the amount of space that they have, right? So
your beer selection, let me put it this way. The H-E-B closest to my house has a beer aisle that is about, and not exaggerating, about 10 times larger than your beer selection.
Yeah.
With less good beer.
Less variety. Less good beer. So they do a great job also of rotating things in and out there, I've noticed. And so I give them high marks. Here's the thing. Even so, there's a huge chunk of shelf space devoted to Carbach. Yep. And when I see someone checking out in front of me, this is what I want to ask you if it's rude, and they're checking out with a 6-pack of Hopadillo. I want so desperately to tap them on the shoulder as an IPA guy, right? And go, there's a lot better IPAs over there. And I'm not knocking Hopadillo. Hopadillo's fine. But there are better IPAs.
Me and my wife were at a bar one night.
Is that rude, though?
Me and my wife were at a bar one night. And we're sitting there and chatting because we had a friend bartending. We're sitting there chatting. They had a great selection of beer. Liberty Station is what it's called. It's over there in Washington, right? And I haven't been there in a few years. But anyway, back then, we were sitting at the end of the bar. We're chatting with our bartender friend. And these two guys walk in. They're obviously from England. Like, the accents are way on and everything like that, and they're looking around, and they order a Budweiser.
Oh, man.
And my wife turns and looks at them and goes, "Excuse me?" And they're like, "Yeah." "Where are you guys from?" And they're like, "Oh, we're from, and they tell her, outside in England. She goes, "And you're ordering a Budweiser?" And they were confused. They're like, "Well, that's what Americans drink, right?" And she goes, "Oh, there's a whole wall of really good beers up there." And they're like, "Well, what should we get?" Because they're just clueless. They just had no idea, right? And so we point out a couple beers, and I think one of them had a porter, like a 512 pecan porter.
God, that's a good beer.
And the other one had, I can't even remember what he got, but both of them were just blown away.
Yeah, and they would have sat there and had their Budweiser because that's what they thought Americans drink.
These beers are proper.
Proper.
Yes,
that's good.
As only an Englishman can say it. This is proper.
Oh, yeah, if you or I say that, it carries no weight. But if they say it, boom, boom,
but yeah,
mic
they
drop.
were blown away, and they're like, "Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah,
We're just drinking what, we thought the Americans drank."
Yeah.
Like, "Oh, come on, buddy. Get some good beer."
More beers.
So, does that answer your question?
More or less. If it doesn't, it took us on a wonderful detour. So there you go. Another trend, more beers made with fresh hops. You are seeing a lot, especially in the IPA category. Yeah. You're seeing a lot of fresh hop IPAs. So that wouldn't surprise me. Trend number 7, hazy brews aren't going anywhere soon. The New England haze craze has taken the country by storm, and there's no turning back. And
I think that's true. I think that's created its own niche in the market, and I think it's staying.
Number 8 trend, craft malt steals the spotlight. And American barley farmers have been predicted to increase their production in anticipation of new brewers needing the crop to perfect their craft. And craft malt, is becoming more and more of a thing, apparently, in craft beer.
Craft malt.
Mm-hmm. Many brewers are beginning to understand that all ingredients matter, not just the hops.
Yeah.
Right? And so the industry is becoming more powerful, and brewers are using their resources, energy, and time to focus on other components, specifically
That's interesting.
barley.
We've talked. Did we have that on the show, or was it another conversation I had where we're talking about how they source a lot? Oh, I think it was. I think it was True Anomaly was on the show. We're talking about like how they do it, and a lot of times some of the smaller breweries will get together and buy
bulk,
in bulk between the breweries because that way they have a little more buying power and they can get better prices on stuff. It's pretty interesting.
Number 9 on the list is tap rooms take over. They look. The people at Lynchpin SE are looking to tap rooms to become more and more influential, more and more important, more and more where people are getting their beer and their ideas about beer.
I think tap rooms taking over is definitely a thing. I think because there are also beers out there that don't even bother trying to distribute in stores or anything. They just literally run off of a tap room.
I love going to a tap room and trying a beer that I would never take a chance on a 6-pack of.
Right, yeah, that has a lot to do with it too.
That's really good. By the way, was back out at Eureka Heights recently. Went and saw the movie about the documentary about Numbers, which is yet to be released, but they were screening it.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, and it was fun to be back at Eureka Heights. God, their beer on tap is good.
Yeah, it is.
Oh man! And finally, craft beer becomes more diverse. The face of craft breweries is still changing, and beer festivals like Beers Without Beards and Fresh Fest are bringing unique cultures. And craft brewing is slowly but surely changing from sort of like an all-white guy thing to becoming more racially and gender diverse, and that's a positive thing because it's bringing more. It's made a lot of headlines actually in the craft beer world.
Hadn't
over
even
the past
thought
year.
about it. I guess maybe.
There are more and more black-owned breweries.
Right.
There are more and more female brewmasters.
Right.
And we're just seeing a more diverse and open relationship. I mean, if you think about it, beer has always kind of been a guy thing, and probably more of a white thing than an ethnic thing. And yet, as craft beer grows and expands, we're seeing the entire industry become more diverse and more inclusive, and that's a positive thing. And what they point out is their final bid to trend.
I just never really thought of anything about it along racial lines.
Yeah, well, and that's probably good, but at the same time, it is good to see it becoming more diverse.
Oh, absolutely. I got to tell you though, the women thing. There's a lot more women into beer now than there was 10 years ago.
And that's especially true in spirits, like female distillers,
Spirits as well, yeah.
people who are very much a part of the. Look at the last guest that Doc's brought. She knew more about rum than he did.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And that's crazy. I didn't know anybody that knew more about rum than Doc's, you know? But boom, she was sharing knowledge. It was a wonderful thing. It was great to have her on the show. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, it's time for drinking news. And I just want to give you a little bit of an advance warning on drinking news. If you are listening to the audio-only version of the show, today's drinking news, Josh, you will probably enjoy more if you go back and pick it up on YouTube or something, because there's a definite visual aspect to our drinking news, and it's coming up next.
And help me understand.
Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our program is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. And we are thrilled to have you people. We're thrilled to have you people watching us. Damn
people like you.
Yeah, it's people like you that make this thing happen. It's
true.
time. And it's people like you who've decided, against all odds and sense of decency, that the most popular segment on this program is a little thing we like to call Drinking News.
Drinking news, drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news. Drinking news, drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news. A Florida man with one arm said he had a gator for a pet. When asked about his absent arm, he said, I
had to take my gator to the vet.
Drinking news, drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news.
Cheers, y'all. Any way you want to look at it, there can be no denying that 2022 was, in fact, the year of the Florida man. Or the Florida woman, for that matter. There was Bubba Hodge of Homestead, you may remember, stole an alligator from a mini golf course and threw it onto the roof of a liquor store. There's so much wrong with that sentence.
Amazing. That's a series of words that I think you can only actually put those together in Florida.
That's right. There was the trio of men from Silver Springs who broke into a house, stole what they thought was a jar of cocaine, and wound up snorting the ashes of the homeowner's late husband and her two dogs, Millie and Snooker.
That's not funny, but that's hilarious.
But that's hilarious. There was the Florida couple, Tito and Amanda Watts, who were arrested for selling golden tickets to heaven and found to be in possession of over $10,000 in cash, 5 crack pipes, and a baby alligator.
Dude,
why is there always an alligator?
What was the name of the band here in town?
What? There's always an alligator?
There was a band here in town. I'm blanking on the name right now, but they had the song called My Dad, 2 Whores and a Crack Pipe.
For some reason, in addition to all of that, there always seems to be an alligator. But in our first drinking news story of the new year, we look back at 2022 one more time to a Florida woman.
Florida woman. Hold on. There's got to be music for that.
To a Florida woman who shows us what not to do when you get stopped for suspicion of driving under the influence. Now, if you're pulled over, as many people were on New Year's Eve, for example, whether you've been drinking or not, there are some definite things to do, and there are some definite things not to do during the stop. First, and you probably know this, but you should not antagonize the police officer. Even if he's making you late or you feel like you shouldn't have been stopped in the first place, making him or her angry is simply not going to help your cause. You should not, as one Florida man did last year, tell that officer that you haven't been drinking and driving because you only took your sips while the car was stopped at various red lights and stop signs.
That's amazing. I mean, that's logic right there. That's somebody thinking.
Yeah. And you probably want to stay away from what one man did last year when he drove his motorized Lazy Boy recliner chair, complete with a lawnmower engine, a cup holder, a radio, a headlight, and, of course, a National Hot Rod Association bumper sticker to and from your favorite bar. And while you're at it, you might not want to take your cues from this week's Florida woman. If you're asked to step out of the car and walk a straight line for the field sobriety test. 38-year-old Amy Harrington was charged with driving under the influence with property damage after rear-ending a vehicle about a mile from her home. When police asked her to walk the line, She appeared a little wobbly just several steps in, but then decided to compensate for that by beginning to perform some ballet steps and a very interesting little Irish folk dance the rest of the way down the line.
That's amazing.
As you can imagine, this did little to convince the cops that she was actually quite sober. And they very quickly brought her up on charges. What it did do, however, was to provide us with perhaps the single best use of police body cam footage.
Do you have a video of this?
In all of 2022.
Oh, let me see.
Ladies and gentlemen, Drinking News proudly presents Ms. Amy Harrington.
Uh-huh. All right. Oh, she's off the line. Yeah, now she's doing a little bit of a jig.
Yep.
Oh, she's totally sober. Look at that.
Yeah, of course. I always do that when I'm sober. Yeah.
She just kept going. Still going.
I'm telling you, I'm all in on the police body cams here. Yay. And then you would think that would be it. But no. No, she's still dancing. She's jumping up and down.
Oh, there's the ballet.
Yeah. Yeah, doing a little ballet step. It's really it's like 2 minutes worth of body cam footage.
That's absolutely hilarious. Oh, she's talking to. Okay, she's going to do it again. This is the third try, right?
Yep. Here
All
she
right.
goes down the line.
And dance.
Can you imagine if she'd had a stripper pole?
Oh.
Yeah, I think after this one, they go ahead and handcuff her.
The female cop has no sense of humor about it whatsoever. She's
Think about this. You're the cop. You're just waiting. Yeah. Thinking, how long is this going to go on?
You know what that officer is thinking?
What?
We got this on cam.
Yeah, right. Single best use of police body cam footage of the year.
She keeps going. Okay, you gonna do it again? This is try number 4.
Yeah, no, this is getting cuffed. That's what that is.
Now you're cuffed.
Look at the expression on the cop's face. I love it. It's like I had to sit through that. You're going to jail. Oh, boy. So there you go. Amy Harrington, ladies and gentlemen. And I would just point out, by the way, that a picture may be worth 1,000 words, but a video could be damn near priceless.
Drinking news. Oh, did you have more?
I was just going to say, reporting live from Florida, where I have a feeling that 2023 is going to be a banner year for our show's most popular segment. My name is Cruz, and that is your
Drinking news. Drinking news. That's our time for drinking news.
Cheers, y'all. That one really was all about the video.
That was pretty amazing.
It was pretty amazing.
You know what? If I'd have thought about it, I should have gone into a blow by blow on that one. You know, the whole like a Madden.
Yeah, right.
Commentary.
Oh, okay, she's leaning to the right. Now she's on 2 toes. Now she and boom, she's drunk. All right. So Ian has thoughtfully poured our beer. This is It So Happens It's Tuesday from the Bruery. What kind of ABV we talking here, Ian?
So happens it's Tuesday. This is coming in at a measly 15.3%.
Holy moly. So I'm guessing it's going to be boozy.
Bourbon barrel-aged Imperial Stout.
So Happens It's Booze Day.
Namesake aside, this bourbon barrel-aged Imperial Stout is worthy of pouring every day of the week. Both elegant and complex, it exemplifies over 10 years of experience in barrel aging technique. Notes of dark chocolate and vanilla are rounded out with hints of freshly picked, not pickled. Pardon me. Freshly picked cherries, dried figs, and molasses. Mm-hmm. Ideal serving temp 55. We're probably a little bit below that, but it's going to get there pretty quickly.
What's your take on this? I mean, as Imperial Stouts go, this is a genre you're like. This is a favorite for you. So where does this rank in terms of what you've had?
So I have had this before, and it is fantastic. I think it's a little cold right now, to be honest with you, because you don't get as much of the chocolate notes right now. You get the fig.
Yep.
the fig, especially towards the last third.
Definitely get the fig. I'm getting a lot of that.
Right, the last third of the flavor, but the chocolate notes won't come out until it warms up just a little bit. The bourbon barrel is 100% there. There's a beautiful oak dryness on it that finishes the palate and leaves it not too sticky, even though this is a very sweet and big beer.
You're right. I was expecting it to be a little stickier, given how boozy it is.
Well, I'm pretty sure that if this was to drip between two pieces of wood and you left it for more than a couple hours, you may never get those pieces apart. However, it doesn't, because of that oak dryness on the finish, I think, and there's a little bit of bitter in it as well, like coffee kind of bitter. I think that it doesn't linger like some of the sticky sweet things do. You know,
I'm liking it.
It's really good.
Really is. Really, it's not an inexpensive beer. It's a little over $20.
They said $20 for the 16-ounce can. Yeah.
So you're definitely it's definitely not
you
a mass-produced
experience.
Yes, you are. But you know what? It's quite worth it.
At 15.3%, though, it is like drinking 3 of these in there.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. I can feel it. Like you can feel the booziness.
There's a little booziness. You know, it's funny because I don't taste the booziness initially, but after the aftertaste a little bit and stuff, it's like there's
so there are some of these high ABV stouts that you really do. You immediately get the booziness. Yeah. This one more sneaks up on you.
This one you can kind of get it on the nose as well, but the fig note that they're talking about in there is really, really big. The dried cherry, I think, also adds to that slight sour, slight bitterness on the end of this that really doesn't let this feel too sticky after you finish it, you know. But
I'm kind of digging it.
Actually, just a little bit that it's warmed up already, those cherries are popping now.
Right, you get the cherries much more prominently. I agree. And a little bit more of the chocolate.
Yep. Yeah, and the more this warms up, the more that chocolate will come out.
Kind of chocolate on the front of the tongue, which is interesting. Mm.
It's very nice. Mm-hmm. I'm not upset that you brought this. You can bring this anytime.
I didn't realize that you'd had it. I was looking forward to like springing it on you. But
the brewery stuff, I'm a big fan, and actually, I'm pretty sure that I had this. I think Denny picked up a can of it. This was like last year or something like that. He picked up a can of it, and I was headed to his house for one of his. It was a birthday.
His soirees,
soirees. He has those things. And we tried it there. That was the first time I tried it. It's fantastic. But it's the brewery, and the brewery makes amazing stuff.
Yeah, they really do. Kind of a specialty outfit.
It's almost a rarity when I try something from them, and it has happened. Something from them, and I'm like, or it's not generally that I won't like it. It's that, like, it's not my favorite thing. But 90% of the time, it's going to be
good stuff.
Outstanding. Yeah,
it's just really good stuff. Well, there was a lot we promised to get to that we didn't today, but I want to thank you for being here for the program, and I hope you had a great holiday. And we look forward to an exciting year here on Smoking and Toast, and got some great guests.
Smoking and Token is a different spinoff.
Hey, this is 15%, okay? We got some great guests lined up here coming up in the next few weeks, and we're very excited, including, by the way, the Lone Pint guys are going to be coming into the studio.
So exciting.
So, yeah, what a great brewery. Excited about that. So, in the meantime, it's good to be back. Here's to a great 2023 for everybody, and
Happy New Year.
Cheers, y'all.
Cheers, y'all.
It's alright when it's okay. Yeah, you never listen to anybody else.